Hello, Facebook family and friends. This is Suzette Martinez Valdez, your Republican candidate for State Assembly in California's 38th Assembly District, which includes the Santa Clarita, Simi Valley, and San Fernando Valley area. It has been a few weeks since you and I connected, and it's because I have been crazy campaigning. We had a big deadline at the end of June, a big fundraising deadline that we exceeded by nearly $10,000. So thank you all so much for being a part of that huge, of meeting and exceeding that huge goal. It excites me because we're going to meet and exceed our huge goal of taking this for a big win on November 3rd. So today I'm very excited to talk to you and to talk to and introduce you to a good friend of mine, Eddy Perez of Millennium Systems Incorporated. And man, he has an amazing American story. I'm not gonna go too much into it because I'm gonna let him do that. But he is really a successful businessman here in Santa Clarita and has an amazing American story. And has some tips for you if you are a business owner, if you're open or if you're closed now and plan to be open. He has some tips for you on what you should be doing to keep your business clean for both your employees and your staff, on what you should do if you have a confirmed COVID case at your place of business, and even some tips on what we can do at home to make sure we're living in a more cleanly atmosphere given how really serious this COVID-19 pandemic is. So with no further ado, I'd like to introduce you to my friend, Eddy Perez. Eddy, hi.
Hi, how are you? It's very nice to see you.
Great to see you too. I was so excited. We spoke a couple weeks ago, and just your story and what you do for a living is so amazing. So I couldn't wait to introduce you to the rest of everybody of my Facebook family and friends. So Eddy, tell us a little bit about your American story. You were an immigrant um, turned athlete turned businessman. So tell us a little bit about Eddy.
So, again, thanks for having me, and I look forward to continuing to support you for November 3rd, and then we can turn the tide hopefully back in November. So, yes, my name is Eddy Perez, and I was originally I'm of Spanish background. My grandparents are from Spain. I was actually born in Guatemala, and came to California when I was 14. Fortunately, a civil war broke out in our country, and then mom, you know, took us three boys and brought us here, which we now call home. It's interesting. I remember when I came, mom telling us, single mom, because dad passed away when I was a young boy. Mom said, "This is your new land, uh, and here are the rules of this new land." She said, "You will learn to speak English. You will go and get an education. You will respect all the laws of the land, and you will do whatever it is that you need to do to protect this new nation of them that we now call home." As a 14-year-old, you hardly understand exactly what that means until you go through the process. I didn't speak English when I came, and so it was a very big adjustment. And I came from in an area where you're relatively still a child at age 14. And then when you come to America, it's just a different big place with everything, completely different than when I was used to. But, it was a little bit of struggle in the beginning, but we did follow those rules, and we um, sort of emerge ourselves into the American culture. And I can honestly tell, we blinked and here we are, 40 some odd years have passed. And I can tell you that the American dream is very, very much alive, and it is achievable. It is possible today, and hopefully with people like you that can help us, open doors for other people. I mean, the American dream is very much alive. I'm a very, very good example of it, and I testify to you that it is very much alive. It is a great nation, and I'm so proud of being here.
So, I love that maybe I connect with you because my husband is Guatemalan, or he's Guatemalan and Spaniard as well. But when he was a little boy, his dad sent him to Guatemala during the summers. And he would tell me that, his grandparents would give him a quarter to go down to the local San Maria to buy pan dulce, and they give him a quarter, and he could buy pan dulce for the entire neighborhood. So the neighborhood kids loved him for that. But really, it was an opportunity for him, and being born in America, to understand exactly how good we have it in the United States compared, to the people living south of the border of us, in
Correct.
Mexico and Guatemala and Honduras, and all of those places that, despite the chaos and the problems that we have here now, especially in the United States, we are still the best and most blessed nation in the entire world. So thank you so much for sharing that story. So
You're
you
welcome.
got into cycling and soccer. How did that happen?
Well, being born in a country like Guatemala, and by the way, I agree with your husband's story. With a quarter, I remember with 25 cents, I could buy a Coca-Cola, a bag of chips, and a few gumballs for my friends.
Yeah.
Being born in a country like Guatemala and being of Spaniard background, you learn to play soccer before you learn to speak. That's just how it works, right? And so, when I came here, I went to junior high and high school, and just loved the sport of soccer. And then I also loved cycling from when I was a young boy. I remember my first competition. I think I was like 11 years old, and I came in second place. And then, since then, I just been hooked to cycling, and of course soccer, that's always been my sport. I have played actually. Sort of semi-professionally in 4 different countries, meaning that I have traveled to 4 different countries to play in tournaments when I was much younger. England, Mexico, Guatemala, U.S., Honduras, a few other countries actually. And then with cycling, I just love cycling from when I was a young boy, and I still race 2, 3, 4 times a week, even out of the country. I've raced in Ukraine, Mexico, in the United States, and continued to do it. And when I was age 19 or 20, 21, I actually rode with the United States Olympic team in the United States, and then also in a Mexico ride, I was with the 7-Eleven team and some of the other teams that were professional teams. So just have a passion for sports, and those are the two sports that I excelled at. Yeah.
Well, let me tell you, I admire it because it's kind of weird how much you have in common with my husband. He was a cyclist too, and then he got into mountain biking. And when we first started dating, a year in, I got a mountain bike, and man, it takes some serious commitment just to
Oh
get
yeah.
so used to that. So anyone, who can pick up that sport and excel, hats off to you. And you're in good company because I believe we had the Amgen tour come through Santa Clarita, Thousand Oaks, and Southern California,
Yes.
maybe 5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah, and I'm a big fan. I go way out of my way to, in fact, I rode, there's a group that rides before the actual stage, and I ride it also. And, I follow those guys all the way to Mount Palomar. I mean, I'm one of the hardcore fans of the tour of Amgen. Yeah.
That's awesome. So that brings us to Millennium Systems. So tell us a little bit about your business and kind of the birth of the idea and what you're doing today.
Yeah, so I'm the founder of a company, as you said, called Millennium Maintenance Systems. Millennium Maintenance Systems is a commercial janitorial service that has a very special niche within the medical community. We are biosafety level 3 certified, and now specifically COVID-19 facility disinfecting certified. We're a cleaning company with certain certifications. Currently, we have about 150 employees here in Santa Clarita, and but I'm also in 2 other states. I'm in Arizona, and actually 2 states for now. Sorry, soon to be also in South Carolina. Our client is asking us to go over there and help them with a very large call center that they just are almost done. So we do a lot of disinfecting, not just cleaning, but disinfecting of surgical rooms, medical facilities, clinics, multi-tenant buildings, educational facilities, and manufacturing plants. So we kind of do it all, and now with special, obviously, training with in this new COVID-19 world that we live in today.
So, man, I can only imagine, right? Because just, before the pandemic, making sure we had clean and sanitized operating rooms, even just like clean bathrooms and,
Hmm.
the, business buildings that we walk into on a daily basis has been extremely important, especially as we've seen some really nasty flu seasons the past couple of years. But I can only imagine what it's been like having to adapt your business, particularly in the COVID-19 world. So what exactly is a COVID certification? What does that mean? And why do you need that? And why would people, want to search for a business that's COVID certified when it comes to cleaning?
Yeah, good question. So obviously, there are many different cleaning companies out there, and cleaning, disinfecting, and sanitizing are completely different things. And so there's a lot of companies that do cleaning, or will say that they do disinfecting, but really don't understand what the protocols and the procedures and the processes are. So basically, it comes down to disinfecting facilities means that you don't just clean, but you actually disinfect by way of using either an electrostatic spraying, followed with a manual disinfecting with a certified chemical that is certified by the FDA to kill human COVID-19 virus. And so it does require some special training, because it's not just a matter of wiping things down with bleach, as some people would put it. It doesn't work that way. There are more specific rules that have to be followed, which are suggested by the CDC, obviously, and so it's a little bit more complicated than just wiping down and cleaning. It's got to have the proper equipment, training, proper chemical, and allowing what we call in the industry dwell time to maximize your kill rate of this particular virus.
So, what would you say has been the biggest change or impact of COVID-19 for you and for your business specifically? I mean, I would assume that you were deemed part of the essential workforce, so you have been open. I mean, I would think that, or actually, I don't know if you've had more calls and more business or less because so many offices are closed. How has COVID-19 impacted you, as well as I'm sure you've had some guidelines given down to you by the public health department from the business perspective on how you're supposed to operate, even though you probably already kind of do that.
Yeah. So good question. So we have been very lucky that this pandemic, I mean, I about 30% of my business did close, of the businesses that I serve did close, but my medical business picked up, obviously, because of the exact same reason. So for us was as if nothing really happened. Now, in terms of how this has changed for us, honestly, it has been sort of like another day at the office, because we were already doing the things because of our biosafety level 3 credentials and training. We were already doing most of this work even before this hit. What has changed, obviously, is that the introduction of masks is probably the only thing that we've done different than what we were, doing before. And so, and of course, as the public becomes more aware and sometimes way more confused with this COVID-19, it has been for us just sort of another day at the office in terms of the procedures and the processes, with the introduction, obviously, of masks, which is really all that has changed for us.
Okay. It's really interesting because I own and operate a small preschool, and once there was a lot of confusion in the beginning, of whether or not daycare and preschool were considered a part of the essential workforce. For about a week, we didn't know. We closed down. Then we were made aware that we were a part of the essential workforce. There was CDC and public health department guidelines given to us that we had to follow. We had a good week of trying to prepare to reopen. And one of the things we found very difficult, about a week or two after we opened, was finding PPE, so masks, gloves, and especially cleaning, disinfectants, Clorox wipes, all of those things that you need to stay open, especially during
Sure.
COVID-19. Um, you and I have talked previously. We don't anticipate that this is going to go away anytime soon. So as businesses reopen yet again, maybe with even more strict standards given by the CDC and the public health department. In your opinion, what can just the average business, whether it's a low traffic office that just really has employees working out of the office, or a high traffic retail store, what can they do to keep their employees and their clients safe?
Yeah, it's it's a very interesting question actually, because as I see it, and I've been in the business now a little bit over 30 years, so I'm speaking from a lot of experience. Whether it's a small business or a very large business, the protocols really should be about the same. The In my opinion, to keep a business safe today in this environment, you have to follow 5 or 6 very, very basic rules that would ensure a higher chance of fighting this virus. The very first thing, obviously, is that we do have scientific evidence that masks do help. Now, let me just be caution you with that, is that it doesn't stop from catching COVID-19, but it does help, obviously. There's so many unknown things about COVID-19, so we can't say the one thing for sure is the answer to not being infected, but that is one of the things that makes a big difference. The other is that businesses have to change certain behaviors, meaning that they have to be more aware of their cleaning and maintenance patterns that they had before. For example, we've in this situation, or in this particular time, we've seen businesses who have followed and have changed behaviors and protocols and processes and have done really, really well. And we've seen some who have ignored it and thought they were doing the right thing, chose not to, and ended up with a very infected population. And that's disastrous for any business, today, not to mention, putting people's lives in danger, literally. So businesses just have to be more aware of, I would revisit your scope of work in terms of cleaning your facility. Is your facility being cleaned properly? But more than that, is it being disinfected properly, which is completely different. And then, you have to just introduce, cross-contamination policies and processes to avoid the recontaminating of a facility. I mean, it's as tricky as, like in your case, in your school, it's so tricky because you can follow all the rules and regulations and recommendations, which we do have from the CDC, and disinfect your facility completely from, top to bottom, left to right today. But if someone, in their home didn't follow the rules or wasn't cautious enough and ended up infected and comes into your facility, then here we go again. Your facility is now again infected. So it's really, really tricky, but there are ways to minimize the impact if you just follow basic rules as, wearing masks, making sure you have a correct cleaning process and disinfecting process, that whoever is cleaning your facility is actually trained and understands the difference between, one and the other. And, certainly everybody at home has to do their own. We all have to be responsible at the end of the day, in our own homes. Simple things as when we go to the ATM, after we key in our PIN code, disinfect our hands because we don't know who was there before. Pumping gas, we touch the gas pump. We don't know who touched it before. When we sign at the restaurant with a little stylus or a pen, we don't know who had that before. So I carry my own pen. So just basic things like that are really common sense.
Right.
Would help, change a lot of this, this situation and curve, the coronavirus infection rate right now.
You're so right. Even at the preschool, we're constantly, trying to think, one step ahead of how we can create a safer environment. I mean, by all means, you're correct. Our job is to try and minimize and, get rid of any infection going on at the school. But you're right. If somebody at home doesn't follow those orders, then we could be dealing with a very different situation. And you just kind of some of the things that we're doing at a school that if anybody out there, if you like to do research like me and my husband do, because we're a little bit silly. I mean, they have these. It's amazing how much technology is evolving because of the pandemic and because of this need for contactless everything, right? Whether it's contactless
Correct.
delivery with DoorDash or ordering food. Even at the preschool, we just ordered this really cool new outside door lock because we have a lock entry in order to enter the school. But now it's an app-based outdoor lock where you can knock on the door from your phone and it'll open the gate.
Hmm.
As well as another system for checking in children that would is also app-based, and they sign their children in on their phone, right? So the less dirty fingers touching things, the
Yes.
better. And even for me, and maybe it's because I deal with children, little children that are, they're germy and they're all over the place, and we do our best to make them not germy. I mean, I carry Clorox wipes in the car with me, and when I go to the gas station, like I use the Clorox wipe, or I go to the ATM, I wipe it off. So I kind of feel like it's clean for me, and I'm wipe it again, and it's clean for the next person that uses it.
Yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned that because I have a granddaughter who's just turned 5 years old. It's the first child in our family in 22 years. So as you can imagine, she's sort of like the princess. But the school that she attends, very very good school here in town. I actually came up, kept on thinking, how can I make sure this school is performing at its best in terms of keeping a low risk environment for kids and teachers and parents who come and drop off their kids. And touchless is sort of like the way to go these days. Even if we have a hand sanitizing that you touch, you're still touching it.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you can get your hands on a hands-free sanitizing station, it's really the best way to do so. For this particular school and other clinics that you can't get these things today, it's impossible. I made my own. I created my own. I had my daughter, my granddaughter stand here and build one just to the reach of her height and all of that, and introduce it to the schools and the various clinics that we have, and that works really really well because you're not touching anything, and you're disinfecting your hands constantly. So that is really the way to go, and it's a new behavior that we have to learn. Yeah, it's a new awareness that we all have to start practicing, and hopefully that all will pass soon and we go back to a normal, which seems pretty hard. I think we're gonna have to learn to live with this thing and just change some behaviors.
I definitely think we're going to have a new normal, and I'm very excited about one being given the opportunity to represent you and to have your ear and what you're doing because we're going to have to adapt to a new normal in this world, and this isn't going away anytime soon. So we got to learn to live with it, whether it's getting schools open safely, businesses open safely. We got to get to that point
Yeah.
and adapt. So I want to thank you so much, Eddy, for coming on. How can people learn more about your company?
Well, it's very simple. Our website is mjanitorial.com. That's M for Millennium, mjanitorial.com, and they can find us there, and all of our information and ways to contact us are there. And we're here, and look forward to continuing working with you. And thank you for making this very big push to represent us. I'm looking forward to it. We do need some help. I do agree that all businesses have to open very soon so that we can continue with the economy that we were enjoying, all of us. And we just have to learn some new normals and some new behaviors and some new things. And I think we will be fine. And I look forward to having you represent me and my company.
Thank you so much, Eddie. We'll be in touch soon.
Thank you. Have a good weekend.
Hi, everyone. So I hope you enjoyed learning a little bit more about Eddy Perez and what you and your business can do to make sure that you keep your employees and your clients safe. And again, Suzette Martinez Valderes, I'm running for California State Assembly. We have got to get our economy open. We have got to get businesses open, people back to work, our schools open. We have some serious things to work on because of failed policy coming down from Sacramento. The cost of living, one of the key reasons why I decided to run for state assembly is because California Sacramento majority party policy has made the cost of living for the middle class and for small businesses so incredibly difficult. And we're seeing people move out of this state. And I'm very fearful that if we don't get it right, if we don't get the economy open, if we don't get schools back open, we're going to lose more people, more of your family, more of your neighbors to other states who can get this under control, who can balance public health as well as our economic health. So I ask for your support. Please visit my website at SuzetteValderes.com to learn more about me. And we'll tune in next week for another opportunity to speak with a local business owner and community stakeholder. Thanks so much.